Welcome to the first exercise of our Android hands-on training series. This exercise is designed to give you a sneak peek into how you're using GUI components and how to use fonts and colors. In this exercise, we'll be developing a user interface where the interface takes the username and password as inputs. And when you click on change background, the background of this activity changes to a new color. You get a toast message which says user is authenticated. Let's get into the anatomy of this screen. Here are the UI components you'll be using to create the screen. The first is a relative layout and an image, and we have a text view, we have edit text, we have a button, and we have a special pop-up message which is called as toast message. And this whole screen, as you all know from the previous tutorials, is called an activity. An activity refers to an individual screen. You could see a color coding of green and orange where it says view group and view. Views are nothing but atomic components, whereas view group is a kind of a container which holds all the different views. And a quick recap of what activity is. Activity is an application component which provides a screen with which users can interact in order to do something. If you could see here in the example screens, the Facebook, the Path, the Skype, and all these screens individually are termed as activity. Your Gmail inbox, the screen which you see here is an activity. The second screen you see with a title travel stream is another activity. Every screen in a mobile app is called an activity. When you just visualize activity in a three-dimensional view, you could really see that an activity goes behind when it invokes another activity. So this is basically called as backstack or activity stack. The activity is composed of view group and views. So we have to really understand what view and view group are. The view is nothing but it represents to a basic building block of user interface component. In our example, we have used button, text view, edit text, and even checkboxes. A view occupies a rectangular area, which means it has a definite width and height on the screen and is responsible for drawing and event handling. If you really look at Java at high level, the parent class of Java is the object class. So from java.lang.object, Android has a special derivation which is android.view.view. And this package is responsible for creating all the building blocks of Android. Let's talk about the view group. View group is a very special view that contains other views. You could think about view group as a containers. The view group is a base class for layouts. As you all know, layout holds all the other different views. So here layout is a view group. A best example would be the layouts, which is like relative layout, linear layout, table layout, and so on. View group is a subclass of view. So you could really see here it is extended from android.view.view. Now let's look at how this view and view groups are composed. So this diagram really illustrates a visual representation of how view and view groups are composed in an activity. Every screen in our application, which are activities, is created using layouts, and the layouts are composed using different views. In this diagram, we can see the text view, button, and edit text are the different views which the layout is composing to represent a single screen. One of my favorite quotes goes like this: talk is cheap, show me the code. So let's do a quick demo to really understand all the concepts discussed in this section. I'm going to open Android Studio. If you would have followed my previous tutorial, it's a simple three-step process. Click on Start a new Android project. So here we go, the first screen of the project wizard. I'm going to give the application name. Let me name it as UI demo, and I'll give the package name com.uidemo.example. I'll leave it as such because it's sounding good. But in case if you really wanted to understand how packages are named in Java, it's pretty much simple. Here you go, the Oracle documentation of naming the package. Basically, package names are written all in lower cases to avoid conflicts, and companies use their reversed internet domain name to begin their package names. Basically, when you release your application in the app market, your package name must be unique. So that's why people use their reversed internet domain name. As you know, domain names are unique. So I would recommend you to look at this documentation to just understand briefly how this package names are created in Java. So here we go, the project location is there. Clicking next, I'm selecting the minimum SDK as 5.0. Clicking next, I'm selecting a empty activity. The reason I'm not selecting any other activity templates is because I'll get a lot of boilerplate codes for login activities and all these things. So to avoid the boilerplate code, I'm just going with empty activity. In your case, if you wanted to create a login activity, there is already a predefined template, so you can use this. So in our case, I'm going to empty activity, clicking on next. I'm leaving out the names of the activities like main activity. I'll click finish. Here is the new app in a project explorer. So the first thing I need to do is to create the user interface. Here is a reference image for me. So this is what we are going to create now. So I'll go ahead and start doing it. I'll go to the resources. So hope everyone knows now we have all the layouts within the layouts folder. So activity underscore main.xml. So here is the layout. So the first thing I'm going to do is to drag and drop a nice image view. So and give the source image. Before giving the source image, let me first pull the source image. I have a nice Android KitKat image here. I'll try to copy it. I'll copy and paste this image in the drawables. So all the image assets will go into drawables folders. That's for your reference. And once you have this little image here, I'll go click on this image view, search for the SRC property. You have to navigate to the projects tab, and within the drawables you can find the Android logo. It's a nice little logo here. So right now I just wanted to resize this. So here is a nice little logo. So I'm going to just add a large text here. I need to double click this. I'll get text as well as ID. The text is for the users to see in the user interface. So here I'm typing username, and ID is something where if I need to use this view in the backend in the Java program, I need to give it a unique ID. So right now I'm not going to use this label in my Java program, so let me give the username for now, and I'll drag and drop a plain text here for the users to write the username. So really good. So coming on to the next one, I'm going to drag and drop another user text here, double click and write password as a label. And here in this password I have a special edit text specifically designed for password, so it has this asterisk symbol in it when you type. So username and password. Now we need a button, so I'll go ahead and drag and drop a button. So for the button I need to give a name, so change background color. And here in this case of button, I'm giving an ID because I need to set an on-click listener for this button in my Java program. So in that case, I need to call this button. So with this ID, I'll be calling this button authenticate. Also for this edit text, I'm double clicking and giving an ID, edt username, and double clicking this edt password. Sorry, I need to give edt password. So you have given IDs for those views which we are going to handle in the backend, which is in the Java program, and you have given the labels username, password, and the label for the button. Now I need to bring in a small text here. I'll write the username is demo and password is welcome. So that's just a small note. You don't see this in any production application, but just for the demo application we have written that. If you really look at the reference screen, we have almost bought all the things except the hint. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and type a hint in this text box. So we usually call text box as edit text in Android. So here I'm just go to properties window, I type hint. So hint text are nothing but those are like watermarks, so it helps you to understand. Enter your username, and similarly for the password, enter your password. So now it has a nice little watermarks on that edit text. So the only thing which is missing is the background color. So let me go quickly and give a background color. So I can select the relative layout and I can check for background properties here, and I can go here, click on this and give it a nice color. In this case, this is a nice color. Let me select, let me click the username, and there are a lot of properties I can set to this. You can see something called text color. So let me give it as white. So I'll select from the palette here, I'll select white here. The text style, let me make it as bold as well as italics, and for the password too I'll do the same. I'll go select the color from the palette and I'll make it as bold and italic. You could see this closely resembles to the reference screen we have in this, except maybe we can change this text color to white color. That's it. I need to wire up all these UI elements, all these edit text as well as the button. So let me go to the Java program, and here is my main activity class, which is extending the app compat activity. So as you know, when you extend app compat activity, you have to override the default methods, which is onCreate, which is the first method to be called, and it in turn calls setContentView and binds the layout. So there are a couple of views in the layout, the edit text, the button. So let me declare Java variables. I'm declaring a button variable, btn authenticate, full of edit text, edt username, comma edt password, alt enter, shortcut for importing the packages in Java, creating a relative layout. In our case, we need to change the background of the canvas, so I am declaring a variable which is pointing to the relative layout. So I hope I've given an ID for this relative layout. The ID is canvas here, and the ID for username is edt username, and for the password is edt password, and for the button is btn authenticate. So I need to bind these views using the ID which I have given. So let me go quickly to the program. Within the onCreate, let me bind all the Java variables to the UI elements. btn authenticate equal to button of, I'm using a special function called find view by ID, and this function, what it does is it finds the view in the user interface using the ID which we have provided. So here we have to pass the ID r.id. btn authenticate is the ID which we have given for the UI button. Similarly, we have to do for edt username equal to edit text, find view by ID. We have to pass the ID of the username edit text. Let us do that for the password, edit text, find view by ID r.id. And here is for the password. If you really look at this, the find view by ID takes the ID as the argument and finds and returns the view. This function is called in the runtime, and Java doesn't know what it might return. So I'm doing an explicit typecasting with this syntax button off. So what it does is whatever it returns, it's going to typecast and assign it to the button variable. So I'm also going to bind the canvas here, relative layout, find view by ID r.id. canvas. So after binding all the Java variables, right now all the Java variables are pointing to the views. So let me go and add an on-click listener to the button, which is btn authenticate dot set on-click listener. So this set on-click listener takes an on-click listener as an argument. So I'm writing new on-click. I'm not typing the whole syntax because Android Studio helps me with the template. So I'm just going to hit enter, and you could see new of on-click listener, and within which there is an parameter on click, and this is a method here. This method will get executed when a user clicks on this button. So we are setting this on click listener and we're passing this on click method here. So within this on click method, I need to do the business logic which has to happen while the user clicks on the button. So let me create two string variables and assign it to null. So I'm going to use these variables to compare and do a sample logic. So first I need to extract the username equal to, we have the edit text dot get text. Get text is a function we are using to extract the text from the edit text view dot to string. So I'm converting it into string. Similarly, I'm doing it for the password. You could see how easy it is to type in Android Studio. It gives you code completion at all the levels. So now I got the username and password. So what I should do, I'll put a simple if statement. If username dot equals demo and password dot equals, give it as welcome. This is not how we do it in a production application, but since it's a demo application, so we'll do this. So here, if the username is going to be demo and the password is going to be welcome, we are going to display a small pop-up toast message. This is a syntax, toast message, toast dot make text. It has three arguments. The first argument is the context in which this toast has to be displayed. So I'm asking the system to get the current application context. The second one is the character sequence which needs to be displayed. So here I am telling user authenticated, and the third variable or the third argument is the duration which the toast should be displayed. So there are two predefined duration here, which is length long and length short. I'm selecting length long, which is approximately 6 seconds, and I'm using dot show method to show this toast. Canvas, which is pointing to the relative layout, dot set background resource. So this function takes an argument of type resource, r dot color dot authenticated color. Authenticated color, I haven't hard coded. This is how it works. It goes to colors.xml. I've already defined authenticated color to this particular color. Okay. In this case, it changes from the background color to this authenticated color. Let's add an if else statement. Here I'm writing a toast message, toast.makeText. I'm getting the application context and I'm saying please check your credential, and toast.lengthlong.show. Let's run this program. I'm going to click on app and click on run. So let me launch an emulator. So here you can see the output. So I'm typing demo and welcome 123, which is a wrong password. You can see that it's telling please check your credentials. So let me type the right password, welcome, and you can see user is authenticated and the background of the activity is getting changed to a new color. So I hope this program really helped you in understanding how you can design various GUI components, how you can play with fonts and colors, and how to manipulate colors programmatically. And a basic on-click listener would be a real bonus in this program.